Hello, dental speaker and consultant. Welcome to Just Ask V, a monthly video podcast where you receive the strategies, tools, and resources to help you grow your speaking and consulting business. I'm Vanessa Emerson, founder of the Dental Speaker Institute, and Dental Speakers Bureau. Through my business advisory coaching services, I'm asked a myriad of questions. You're invited to submit your speaking and consulting business-related questions to info@thedentalspeaker.com, info@thedentalspeaker.com, and we will answer your question in a future episode. So let's jump in. Today is a continuation of last month's topic where we talked about how often aspiring and developing speakers are unclear how to grow their businesses. They've mastered their topic, but the business of speaking and consulting is not quite as clear. So we're talking about how to establish a basic structure for that business and a plan of action so that you have a plan and can identify the path of what needs to happen next in order to really grow. I'm just talking grow. I mean, leverage is down the road, to scale it is down the road, but to grow it and to start really increasing your income. So in this month's episode, we're going to pick up from where we left off. We had talked about life vision, not business, but life. And I shared with you a resource. If you haven't listened to last month's, you might want to go back and listen to that first. I've shared a YouTube video that will walk you through exercises for you to be able to establish your own life vision if you've not done that, to get it written down and in the right format. And then we also talked about the importance of having a strategic action plan, a business strategy that will align, that connects your life vision to your business so that as you drive the bus, you end up where you want, ultimately where you want to end up, that you've given it thought. So today I wanted to share with you an overview of the sales cycle and then talk with you about tying that back into strategic action plan so that you can have a tool you can use as you go forward. I see the sales cycle as having a front and a back end. So on the front, let's say on this side of me is everything you do to attract clients. It's client attractive. And in the back end are the sales offerings that you offer to someone once they're actually in through the front door and they're as you're interacting with them and you're working with them, as you're helping them transform. So let's start with the front end, client attraction. I teach this in some detail in Transform My Business. I'm going to give you an overview. Transform My Business is a workshop you'll find at thedentalspeaker.com. It's a 2-day virtual workshop. And we go into quite a bit of depth on a lot of things, but for sure on the sales cycle, because it's so important. So there is a lot of activities that we can engage in as speakers and consultants to attract clients. So you might already be thinking, yeah, social media, establishing yourself as like an influencer or a thought leader. There's email marketing. There is what you do to write, maybe blogs, articles, books, that sort of thing, where you take your content and you put it into the written form and push it out. There's video and audio, like what I'm doing now. This is technically thought leadership or influencer type of an activity where you share your knowledge with your audience. And it's a great way to position yourself as an expert who has the answers. So maybe a podcast or a webinar or something along those ideas. You can either host or be a guest, by the way, on a podcast or that sort of thing. There are other ways we can attract clients, and I'm going to go ahead and share this visual with you so that we have, let me see where my share button went. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this so you can see this with me. But before I go to the last of these different ways, I want to point out speaking, you see right there in the middle. A lot of times speakers and consultants don't consider speaking a marketing activity, an activity in which we want to attract clients. And I would submit for your consideration, that's what it is, period. that if we're wanting to grow a business, if we're not speaking for the purpose of giving back to the industry, and we don't care if we get paid, or we don't really care if we get more gigs, we're not really growing a business around it, that's different. If we want to be a speaker who, creates an income of which they're going to live as a speaker and consultant typically, but as a speaker, I really want to encourage you to realize that speaking is out on the front end. This is about attracting clients so that they see you as that influencer, that expert, and then ultimately you want to have something on the back end to send them into. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But so our sales cycle front end, I'm sure this is not everything. This is just a quick thumbnail of some of the different ways that we attract clients. One thing I didn't really go into here, and basically like giveaways from the stage, giveaways from your website, giveaways through articles. You can do something like a text to join when you speak, or really anywhere you could throw a text to join up. And in that, when you text a number to join someone's email list, is what I'm talking about. You should be able, in your email software like Constant Contact, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, any of these that have email automation, you should be able to modify your welcome email that goes back. So let's say that I'm listening to someone speak. I'm an audience member, and they say, if you'd like to have a copy of this, whatever the giveaway is, some kind of a handout, some kind of a article, or a rubric that they're explaining, something that they're giving away, they might say, well, just text a certain word to this particular number and it will email it to you. Basically what you're doing is signing up for their email list. And what they have done is modified that welcome email that comes back and says, thanks for signing up for our list. They've modified it so it'll shoot back and give you whatever the handout or giveaway was. I don't mean to get too far off in the weeds. This is something that we do at Transform My Business in way more detail. But there's a lot of different ways that we attract clients on that front end. And ultimately, we want to move those who would be a good fit, right fit, perfect fit, ideal fit. We want to move them from the front end into the back end of our sales cycle. That's the whole point, right? So on the back end, I picture something like this, more of a staircase, or you probably have heard the term value ladder as it applies to our different offerings. But before I stop sharing, I just want to point out that it's really a tiered approach, and notice the words around the outside. So let's say, for instance, on the back end of the sales cycle, maybe you have a book that you sell, and it's probably down here, maybe it's $20. It's probably the first rung on the ladder or the first step in our staircase. And then you might have some workshops that are a couple $100s or more that would be further up. And you probably have some coaching offerings that are further up as far as the dollar amount. But so the fee, as we go to the right, where our fee is increasing, but notice what's happening here with value and fit. The higher we go with the fee, our audiences or the people we train, our clients, should be seeing more transformation. They should be getting more value from you for those dollars. And also ideally, and this is what's so fun to me, is that the fit with the clients. So our ideal fit, our perfect fit, are going to be the people who are hanging out with us up here at the top of the staircase, where this is probably our highest or higher dollar offerings. And those are the people that are what my term would be to say they're singing in the choir. They are fans of what you do. They're fans of the topic. They are somebody who's really passionate about this, and or they're really getting a lot of value from you on those lower steps, those lower dollar offerings, like maybe a half-day workshop, or so they've engaged with you at a different level. And so ultimately we can get to the top, or we might have like a retreat, or it might be a big project you do for them. It could be 5 figures or more at this highest level. So I just wanted you to see the visual. I'm going to stop sharing, but the idea is, out here on the front end, we attract clients and we send them into something on the back end, which in my mind is always kind of a staircase. Now, as I think about my staircase, I also recognize it's not flat. It's 3-dimensional. So you could actually technically turn and look at your staircase and realize that it's wide. And so what I mean by that is you might have multiple offerings on the same stair or the same dollar amount or many things that at like mid-range, many offerings, I should say, many services or products or offerings mid-range. I just don't want you to think about one per step or that it's only a couple of offerings. I want to consider you over time. I want you to consider, that's what I should say, that over time you offer a wide range of products, services, a lot of different ways that your clients and potential clients can interact with you. So that's the back end of the sales cycle. Now, we're not going to get a whole lot deeper into that. I just wanted to throw this idea out for you so that if it intrigues you, you feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to chat with you and answer some specific questions. info@thedentalspeaker.com. If it intrigues you and you want to go deeper, you might check out Transform My Business. It's on The Dental Speaker, thedentalspeaker.com. It's my first seminar when you go to seminars. And it's a 2-day virtual workshop. It's broken down into 4 3-hour chunks. And so we have a 2-hour lunch so that you're not sitting for 8 hours and hours, and the time literally flies. Read the testimonials. You see there's quite a few of them, and it's a really meaty, awesome workshop. I can say it's awesome, right? but it really is. My point with Transform My Business is to take what we're doing here, and really expand it out so that you as a speaker and consultant have the strategies and the systems, just like those of you who teach systems and strategies to dental practices. It's no different. You need to understand the systems and strategies for your own speaking and consulting business in order to really be able to grow and leverage it. So I want you to be able to have those skills, and that's a great place for it. Of course, we could also talk, and if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer ahead of time. Okay, so let me reel my thoughts back in. So let's tie this back now to strategic action plan. The reason we're talking about this right now in these 2 episodes, life vision needs to align, well, really, our business strategy, our strategic action plan needs to align with the life vision. We want to build a strategy for our business and build that business that ultimately supports. It's going to hold up and support. It's going to feed what we want to do in our life, right? So whatever that looks like for you, for me, for a long time, it was I wanted to be able to grow organic apples, and I'm a cat person, and so I'm really heavily involved in rescue, and I want to have time for that. There's different things in my life, exercise, spirituality, what is it that jazzes you? Do you want to be able to work on, cars, is a hobby? Do you want to woodwork? Do you want to travel? What do you want to achieve? Let's get clear about that so that we can then look at the strategy and create a strategy to help you get there. That's so important. I know I'm saying this multiple times. It is so important that it really bears repeating. So your business strategy is going to be your blueprint or your plan. It's essential. It's basically you making a commitment to you. An example of how to pull this together would be, mine's in Microsoft Word. It's just a document where I've gone through, now that we know profit centers and revenue streams, and you've outlined what yours are. You might start with speaking on your strategic action plan and give it a title. And then underneath that, say, speaking on the circuit. And underneath that, you might say, review my speaker packet or update my web page for speaking, or reach out to meeting planners, or, what are your tasks that you need to do in order to move that forward? On each of these, I want you to give it a target date. And you can also kind of park it, put it in a parking lot for now. For instance, under marketing, you're speaking, you might say, I want to update my packet, but I'm going to wait till March. And so you could always pull that to the bottom of the list and just give it a date. Do this for each of your revenue streams. Every profit center has multiple revenue streams, right? That's where we want to go. So you're going to break down this document by profit center and then multiple sections for your different revenue streams. And it's basically, what are my next steps? If you don't know what your next step is, like for instance, you might say, I want to write a book. but I'm not really sure how to get started. Happy to have that conversation with you. Okay, share with you resources, multiple resources about how to do that. My little book, I'm happy to share with you. So you think you want to speak in dentistry? This is basically, well, not basically, it is my 3-hour speech that I give on the circuit in a 55-page book. I'm doing it like this so the blur doesn't take it away. So you think you want to speak in dentistry? I'd be happy to send you a PDF. I have less than $1,000 in this total, less than $1,000 in creating it. And that was basically hiring someone to get it into Amazon for me, and, you know, the artwork and like clean it up and format it and everything. I think I spent about $700 or $800, and literally less than 20 hours of my time, because I took my speech and just tweaked it. And that includes from start to finish, less than 20 hours. So it doesn't have to be super costly, and it doesn't have to take a lot of money. Time, a lot of time or money to create a book. The right book is what we're wanting you to have. But as you work with your strategic action plan, if you find that you're like, hey, I don't really know what my next steps would be, I'd be happy to have that conversation with you. I love to have these conversations, so you won't be bothering me. I throw this offer out all the time. I really mean it. Shoot me an email, info@thedentalspeaker.com, and I'll shoot you a link for my calendar. It might need to be a couple weeks before we can get it in. But I would love to be able to help you. I think it's so important for each of you that you do this work and that you're really clear about where you're driving your bus. So again, this is about you making a commitment to you to create this business a certain way and to help you keep it on the path and moving forward. The more that you'll honor and respect what you decide with your strategic action plan, likely the faster that you'll find financial success. I'm going to cap it there for today. When we pick up next time, we're going to talk about step 3. When we started this conversation with our last episode, I shared with you that there are 3 strategies. It's a 3-part strategy to launch and grow your business. So it was vision, strategy, which we've just covered, and part 3 is taking action. So in our next conversation, we're going to talk more about developing your content, growing your skills, marketing, and we're going to kind of high level, like, what do you need to do in that area? I'll share with you quite a few resources as well. So look for it next month. In the meantime, I hope everyone is doing well. Feel free to reach out to info@thedentalspeaker.com and visit us at thedentalspeaker.com to learn more about any of these offerings. And be well, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.